the internet is really sort of how God works. You know, we have the illusion that we're sitting in front of our computers or with our cell phones and that we're alone and that we're maybe connected to a few other people. Actually, we're connected to a large portion of the planet. So God is the same way. God is a consciousness that permeates all creation. And each of us is a terminal for God. Like we're all individual websites in a sense. We have our own individual characteristics, our own glitches, our own beauty. And we're all here for a slightly different purpose. And we're in the process of discovering that purpose. But we're all still really connected to that. We're all connected to that universal consciousness. So when you realize that, that's what enlightenment is really, when you discover that you are everywhere. You are on everybody's computer, everybody's website, that you are the consciousness in everybody. There is no limitation to you. That is what enlightenment is. Then the key after that is to still be able to function as an individual being, knowing that you are everywhere and in everyone. This is why it's so important to regard other people as aspects of yourself, because everyone is. We are all parts of the same God consciousness, the same God presence. And even if someone gives you a hard time, try to acknowledge that the God in that person, that they may have been placed there to challenge you, to help you overcome some weakness that you have. And of course, meditation helps this, because in meditation, you touch on that universal consciousness. You can see yourself outside yourself. You start to realize that your personality is just a program on your computer, that your ego is just a program. And if you don't like a program, you can rewrite it. But before you do that, at least you just observe that it is a program and it likes to operate independently. And you can, through meditation, observe that. So that is the mind, one part of the mind, observing another part of the mind. So even if you become impatient or angry, you can say, oh, that is my ego feeling impatient or angry. Or that is the ego feeling fear or uncertainty, and you don't have to identify with it. You can say, this is just a part of the lesson that I'm learning. I need to accept this other person as a manifestation of God also. I don't really know what their purpose is, but if it triggers something in me, then that's something I need to look at, something I need to work on. So at this time of year, I remember when I was a kid, people used to say, have you made a New Year's resolution? And I think there's something very profound about that. So maybe we could all look at ourselves and say, is there something I would like to leave behind in 1999 and not carry forward into the next year, into 2020? It's very interesting. 2020 is when you have perfect vision. They say your eyesight is 2020. So let's all have perfect vision in the coming year and see things clearly for what they really are. And let us pick some things we would like to leave behind and not take forth into the new year. So we can say something, I see I have had this problem or reaction to things, and I'm just going to not identify with that anymore. I'm going to identify more with my master self, with my God presence. So maybe we could just take a minute and view how we have reacted in the past, like a movie. Pick some incident where you got triggered. And then, it's just like you're a character in a play. See how you could play your role differently in the future. Instead of saying something, speaking sharply to someone, maybe I could be more loving. Can you see how you would say that in the future? And this is the same situation is going to come up again and again and give you the opportunity to play your role differently. So I have a new script now. I'm going to be a different person in that same type of situation. I'm sure you all realize the same situations come up over and over. And this is the master teaching you. And a sign of your evolution, if you want to know, am I making progress on the spiritual path? If you feel more impatient or angry toward people because they're not as evolved as you, then you're not really making much progress. But if you start to feel more compassion toward people or more patience and feel more understanding, then you're making progress. And if you feel impatient toward yourself, that you're not progressing as fast as you would like, or maybe you feel that these practices that I'm giving in the Violet Tara book are too complicated, or you don't have time to practice them, what is the last piece of advice that I give in the book on the last page or next to the last page? Do you remember that? It's just do something good for another person. You don't have to sit in meditation or do prostrations or do the Violet Tara practice or any complicated thing. Just look around you and see, could I even say a kind word to someone else? Maybe there's someone you pass on the street or you see in the cafe and you think, that's a nasty person, or I wouldn't want to talk to them. What would happen if I went up and said, hello, how are you today? Or good to see you. It takes nothing to do that. The worst they can do is scowl at you or turn their back. It doesn't have to hurt you. Or the teller at the bank or the checker when you're in line buying groceries. You can say, I wish you a beautiful day. I can see you're a wonderful person. It's very easy. I just saw that there was a notice, I think on Craigslist, from a grandmother, and she put a notice up to the public that said, is there anybody I could spend one day with on the holidays with a family? I'm all alone for the holidays and I feel very lonely, and I will cook for you. I'll clean house. I'll do whatever. Just let me be part of your family for part of a day. I thought that was very beautiful. I'm sure she got a lot of people. They found something like 45% of people over 50 don't have a single person that they can talk to. I mean, that's sort of very sad. And we can do something to change that. I understand there are even groups now that do that. They go visit people that are shut in. And I think even this little group is a way where we can all participate. And the love that we are generating now is going out to the whole world. We're all connected, like drops in the ocean. What one drop is feeling is affecting the whole ocean. So the love and the compassion that we are feeling is helping everyone. And our just vowing to be a better person in the new year is affecting the mass consciousness. So I would like to mention that this time we're in the middle of what's called the 7 sacred weeks. And I know Scott and Anthea and Donna, all these members of Scott's group, are very aware of the 7 sacred weeks. This is a time starting around Thanksgiving, when the masters work more intensively with humanity. You think, what, just the word Thanksgiving, this is a time we give thanks. That pulls the masters into your life. They say one of the greatest ways to bring the masters into your life is to give gratitude to them. And whichever master you relate to, could be Jesus or Mother Mary, Saint Germain, whoever you relate to most, or all the masters, all the angels, all the cosmic beings, to say thank you. Even though I don't see you on a daily basis, I trust that you're there. And I want to thank you for everything you're doing for me and for humanity. When you say something like that, that opens the door for them into your life, just to acknowledge them. So I had an experience on actually the night before Thanksgiving, where I was taken to the Royal Teton retreat, where the masters they have a retreat center there. And I was shown the reality of this. Sometimes I forget about it. And I was reminded that this is something very real. And during this time, from Thanksgiving through the first week in January, the veils between the dimensions are drawn aside. So it's easier to contact not only the masters, but your own I am presence. And I think part of that is because we tend to go more inward at this time. Although around Christmas, sometimes people get very busy. In general, I think partially because of the weather, people tend to go more inward and be more alone. People that have jobs, maybe have a vacation, people going to school have a vacation. So this is a time when you can really make spiritual progress and really look at yourself and contact God and contact the ascended masters. And this activity of the 7 sacred weeks really peaks on New Year's Eve. So if you can, turn your attention inward, ask the masters, I would like to go to the Ascended Master retreat in the Tetons and be a part of this activity where the masters send light out in a very powerful way to humanity. And I suggest you read about this in Unveiled Mysteries. There are a couple of chapters about going to the Royal Teton retreat. It's very, very powerful. Just reading it brings that energy in. And I'm thinking about doing something online, maybe not New Year's Eve, the night before, sometime around New Year's, where we could perhaps read a little section from Unveiled Mysteries, and we could work on going consciously in meditation to the Tetons to be with the Ascended Masters. And this is a time when you can ask the Masters, please show me my work for the coming year. I seek to be of service. And I can tell you, everyone who is on this call right now is connected with the Masters. It's not just symbolic, having the pictures of the Masters behind me. They are present etherically, and they are present with each of you. We are all really together with the Masters, and they hear your every thought, and they feel your every feeling. So whatever you want to communicate with them, please do so, and ask for help with whatever it is you're working on, and ask them to clear the way for you for the coming year. I am the presence of the living God, clearing all negativity, all human limitation from my mind, my body, my speech, my feelings, my world for the coming year. I am of service to the light of God that never fails. I am of service to the Ascended Masters. So I feel this is appropriate now for us to turn our attention inward and focus on that. Let us focus on the inner light, because this is the time now when the outer light is at a minimum, and we need to rekindle the pilot light within ourselves, within our hearts. The flame is there, but we need to add fuel to it and amplify it. And a great affirmation for that is, I am a white fire being from the heart of the great central sun. So that is acknowledging your oneness with the God presence, the source of creation. And some of that light is within you, that consciousness and that love. And what a great feel, what a great privilege it is to be alive in this human body at this time, and to learn what you are learning, and to interact with the rest of humanity. So I am going to close my eyes now. Let us all turn our attention within and feel, I am the presence of the living God. I am a white fire being from the heart of the great central sun. Thank you, God, for the privilege of being me, of being here now, and being in relationship with all these others, not only on this webinar, but everyone in my life and everyone on earth. Now, I would like to share with you something that has happened to me during this meditation. Most of you have been doing the Violet Tara practice with me, and I did not mention her in the first part of this talk because this was the celebration of the light, and this was a solstice celebration, and I had no particular intention of mentioning her. But in the middle of this meditation, she appeared to me spontaneously. And I have to say, this is the first time I have really seen her face to face without my actually invoking her or trying to visualize her or invoke her. So this is what happens is you do this tantric practice, and at first it takes some effort and to imagine what she really looks like, but the more energy you put into it, the more real it becomes. Especially when you ask your I Am Presence and Saint Germain, I want to experience this aspect of God as the Violet Tara, as a real being. And gradually she comes into being in your life. So I experienced her just now like an ascended master or like a very, very beautiful mother goddess smiling at me. And she put her hand on my head and thanked me for the work that we're doing. And it was just like one of you came to me and put your hand on my head, and I received the blessing. So I want to say, keep on with the Violet Tara practice. The other day, I did a prostration full out on the floor, and I imagined she was in front of me, and I touched her feet with my hands. It said, "Beloved Violet Tara, I love you. Please be a real presence in my life, a vehicle for me to help other people." And this was her response today. Sometimes things don't happen exactly when you want them to happen or you think they should happen. They happen in their own perfect divine time and order. So this moment was my blessing, and I feel a blessing from this group also. And I thank you, especially Thora and Anita, for organizing this global Violet Tara meditation that people around the world, as they do the practice, have been signing in saying, I am doing the practice now. And it starts a wave of violet fire around the world. Some people doing it at 7 in the morning, some people maybe wherever they are on earth, it might be 7 at night or 10 o'clock at night. There is always someone somewhere doing this Violet Tara or violet fire practice. So this is something very real you can do to bless humanity. You don't have to get on a plane and fly to Washington or to Hong Kong or to Buenos Aires or wherever it is. Your higher body is there just by thinking of it. Or by thinking of the center of the earth. You are in the Violet Tara temple in the center of the earth with amethyst pillars and the white marble floor. I am the Violet Tara, sending violet fire throughout the earth, purifying humanity and raising us into a higher octave of light. By the power of God that I am, I thank you, and it is done. Keep coming back to the presence here, the sacred flame. You don't need to think about it, just feel it. So the love that I am goes forth to you. I love you and bless you, and know that the masters are with you throughout the coming year. So let's all have 2020 vision throughout the coming year. So I'm going to say goodbye for right now, but I am with you.